Welcome back everyone, and it's time to go balls deep into Yor. Wait a second. No guys, that's only in our dreams.
Ooh, self-burn. Those are rare.
Is my wife behind me? Oh, I didn't mean it! It was for the video! It was This week we are covering Yor Forger and her past, answering your questions. Number 1, what exactly led her to be an assassin? Number 2, why does she choose to keep doing it? And number 3, will she one day murder Loid? Or was I meant to say, marry Loid? Watch our previous video covering this in detail, and don't be a silly willy next time, hit the notification bell. As we have seen in the past episodes of the Spy Family anime, Yor is the elder sister of Yuri, and they are the only members of the Briar family. The Briars used to live in Ostania City, Eastern Nielsburg, where Yor and Yuri grew up. However, both of them became orphans at a very early age, and this was because of the war. In Loid's backstory from chapter 62, we come to know the repercussions of the war between Ostania and Westalis, on common people that is, and a lot of kids like Loid and Yor became orphans. But the damages from the war to both the countries are enough to believe that such orphans couldn't find a place to be treated well. This fact is even told to us through Anya's tragic childhood, and the people that have the bell icon on for our channel, you will know the disgusting reason why Anya has the power to read minds. So even though Yor was also a child, she was burdened with the task to provide for not just herself but also her younger brother Yuri. She decided to carry this weight and sacrifice all that she desired for her brother. Yor wanted her brother to get the best education and get employed according to his strong academics and abilities. Against all odds, she wanted her brother to live a normal life, away from all the danger. And for this, she had a mountain to climb by taking on the role of a mother, sister, and father all at once. However, what job could a child in the midst of a war even find? Yor probably had to stop going to school as well. So it's not like she could find some respectable job like my parents always tell me, you know, doctor? Why you YouTuber?
Wait a minute.
My parents, till this day, still bring up the fact that I'm not a doctor. You're not a doctor? Why? Why you no doctor?
He did the same joke about 3 times already. I don't think it's funny anymore.
Yor had to work many part-time jobs to provide for her brother and buy him all that he needed. She grasped at any straw that came her way out of desperation, and that's when the agency called Garden recruited her. Just like Wise, Loid's spy agency that is, Garden is also an organization that trains people for assassination. They are a secret group of assassins who are responsible for the deaths of many corrupt officials and mafia bosses of Ostania. Garden is so well hidden that even Ostania's secret police SSS has no clue about the existence of such an organization. And this Garden noted the incredible physical ability of Yor when she was a teenager and thus recruited her to be their member. Looking at Yor's situation, she was willing to go to any lengths to earn funds, even if it meant bloodying her own hands. She was also a child after all, and it's common knowledge that children are much easier to manipulate. Of course, Yor would take up a job that would pay her enough to buy a new book for Yuri, then work someplace else. Statistically, even in real life, war-torn countries always escalate the depravity of the youth, because war causes a shift in culture and ideologies, which results in the economy, politics, and outlook on life to change, which overall forces young people to be the victims overall. Well, anyway, this ends up with the children like Yor and Loid not really caring what kind of jobs they have to do as long as they can bring food to the table. And thus, Yor took up the job of being an assassin and was so good at it that she became a well-known name in the organization. Even then, her brother never knew how exactly Yor always ended up with blood on her face and all over her clothes whenever she came home, because, you know, do you remember the China version? Have you guys seen what they did with the censorship? They changed the red to white. What? Despite not figuring out Yor's actual profession till now, Yuri does remember Yor worked hard for his sake. Well, we can see why he has a sister complex now, can't we? It sounds funny to us that Yor, who seems extremely silly and reserved, would end up at such a high-skilled job and be so good at it. Yor's co-worker also calls her a robot, as we see her being indifferent and collected at all times. Now this is where we cue the sad music, everyone, because behind Yor's almost envious skills and composure probably lies hours of devilish training to not just have the physical ability to execute people, but also get mentally immune to blood and violence. It is very morbid to even think about how many children like Yor were taken in by such an organization across Ostania and Westalis just because they couldn't find anything better than this. Like, just think about it. To live in such a situation that murder is the best option to survive, such children had to become cruel and cold-hearted and believe that their actions were all for the sake of their country. This also makes us wonder how war ravages a country to the point that whilst politicians who push people to fight live comfortably in their houses drinking their tea and shit, but the common people take the brunt of it all. We can even see that when Yor goes on a job to kill someone, she completely changes her demeanor and almost looks like she is possessed. This bloodlust is drilled into her to the extent that it's like a second nature now, and she subconsciously thinks of murder as the solution to her problems even in her normal life. For example, when Anya was on the wait list to get into Eden Academy, Yor wondered if she could just threaten or kill some politician to get admission for Anya. Yor is truly an assassin through and through, and I know it was a comedy, I laughed my ass off at this scene, but the deeper meaning is there. It's clear from her interactions with Yuri and Anya that she is inherently a gentle soul and wants nothing more than making people around her happy. Yor's maternal instincts are hard to miss, as she often comes to Anya's rescue when Loid pushes her a bit beyond her capacity to study. She remains firm and understanding of Anya in every situation. We'll discuss more about Yor as a mother later. We can't overlook how Yor has to give up her feelings of kindness to strive for being a cold killer. Moreover, because of her secret lifestyle, she lacks social skills like interacting with others on common topics like fashion. This led to Yor facing a lot of ridicule from people around her. For example, in chapter 2, her bitch ass co-workers made jokes about her that she doesn't put effort into her parents and is single even at 27 years old. And I'm just saying, bitch, have you looked in the mirror? Yor looks the best out of all of you, fam. Alright, I need to calm down. I'm acting like she's my wife. Like I'm married to her. But I'm just saying, you know this bitch right here, this blonde one, when she said you're single at 27 years old, this bitch burned hundreds of you watching this video right now. I was single at 27. What you trying to say? You see why we're all mad? Fuck this bitch. You pretentious, superficial, ugly on the inside. In that whole episode, we can witness that Yor knows exactly what they are doing at the party, but she decided to leave rather than speak for herself because she knew she was very far from the ordinary life others live. But in the inside, Yor longs for warmth and acceptance, which Loid and Anya provide. We can see how Yor was totally desolate in chapter 2 because she has always been alienated from normalcy. It's natural that Yor has several self-esteem issues because of all of this and always finds herself inadequate as a normal woman. She can't erase her past to make herself more suitable for the life she is expected to lead, and she had only done what she had to in desperation. The price for living a life that she couldn't tell anybody was that nobody would accept her as she was. She couldn't explain what she was doing, when she was going out, or even her insane physical strength to anyone. But she also couldn't risk losing her job by chasing normalcy. In a weird way, her assassination skills were all she had and knew how to do. And well, you know, cleaning. If there was a cleaning competition, Yor would win that. She cleans better than any cleaning agent you could think of. And that's why, ladies and gentlemen, she gets more points for being a waifu. right? If you think about it, Yor has spent so much time as an assassin that she has associated her entire identity with it. If she has to stop being an assassin, she will not know who she is. And since she finds it actually honorable to get rid of dirtbags from Ostania, she won't know her purpose in life without her job either. That is also why she can't expect herself to fall in love with anyone, because it would be too risky and it would strip her of her title of the Thorn Princess. So, who better than a man who would pretend to marry her with no questions asked? Loid was the perfect solution to all her problems. These are the reasons why she wasn't hesitant in proposing to Loid. I mean, proposing the extension of their contract as a fake couple. But there's more than just this to uncover in Yor's relationship with Loid, and that's what we're going to cover now.
As we saw, according to Yor, Loid is perhaps the only person who would accept her as she is without any prejudice. In chapter 2, Loid didn't get fazed by Camilla's attempts to slander Yor. He actually admired Yor's sacrifices to raise her brother in a proper manner, as he too came from a similar circumstance of a war-torn nation. It's highly likely that Loid was the first ever person who stood up for Yor when she didn't do that for herself. But this incident surely made a lasting impression in Yor's mind, as it also became the beginning of something special. In a very cute way, Loid is the stability Yor was lacking in her life. She was looking for something ordinary, and Loid came along in the most extraordinary way to give her the most momentous life under the pretense of being ordinary. Loid is the one opportunity Yor could have at experiencing love and acceptance, even though it was nothing more than pretend. But before too long, we see Yor getting comfortable with being part of the Forger family. She constantly tries to remind herself that this family is fake and that her role in it is just to protect her job. It's strikingly similar to Loid's experience with his family. Yor and Loid are mirrors of each other, from their sad childhood to their secret jobs and identities, which is why they have an unspoken understanding between them. Yor is slowly beginning to come to terms with her own self, and as Loid said, realizing that all people are good at different things. Maybe she isn't a failure after all. The difference between Yor as an assassin after joining the Forger family is huge. She is much more chirpy and content, and even has softer features now, like her rounded eyes. Even her thought process has changed. Take chapter 53 for example. Yor had an important mission on the ship, but her biggest problem wasn't her enemies. It was that all of her thoughts revolved around protecting her family, effectively telling us that she had become soft for them. In the Forger family, Yor found a recluse and a place she could be vulnerable to an extent. This is a huge step because both Loid and Yor are such heavily guarded people as professionals that you'd think they have a heart made of stone. But that's not true. Yor goes through a lot of emotions and she has begun to stop suppressing them. With Anya, she displays maternal strength, not just in terms of teaching her how sucker punches work, but also in how she treats Anya. The first instance we see of this is in chapter 5, where Yor suddenly went into her stealth mode because of Swan asking Anya which mother she liked better. It was pure protective instinct from Yor's side, something that isn't very new to her. She took up the assassin job to protect Yuri's smile, and now subconsciously she's doing the same for Anya. Even in chapter 19, Yor was frantically looking for Anya, who had run off to protect Loid. Yor made a badass entry to save her. We realize in this scene that just like any real parent, Yor's feelings had been all over the place in the meantime Anya was gone. And when it comes to Loid, there's no surprise that Yor is falling for him. They both can deny their feelings for each other, but the people who have pressed the bell icon would know from this video that they truly are in love with each other. One instance that stole our hearts from Yor's perspective is in chapter 35. In this chapter, we see Yor being extremely desolate because of the thought of Fiona, Loid's co-spy, replacing her. As we discussed, Yor already has plenty of self-esteem issues and found herself inferior compared to her rival in love, Fiona. Clearly, just look at this. Yor was jealous over Loid because she was too attached to him. However, Yor still couldn't bring herself to say out loud that she was okay with Loid falling in love with with someone else and that she would move away respectfully. Our ship is sailing, alright? We can definitely conclude that Yor has let loose of her feelings and she can't bear to part with Loid anymore. She even sang him a lullaby when she knocked him out with a massive kick. That's so sweet. Moreover, she always tries to improve herself as a mother and wife. In chapter 24, we see Yor put every bit of effort into learning how to cook for Loid and Anya. She even went as far as asking Camilla to teach her and persisted despite getting several cuts on her hand every day. Yor wanted to prove herself as a worthy member and maybe even subconsciously feel that she deserved the happiness she was getting out of being a forger. It is an understatement to say that she was overjoyed when she could successfully cook up southern stew for Loid and Anya, and they truly enjoyed it. It was a huge achievement for Yor, something she never thought she would be so elated to do. It shows us how Yor is moving away from being a cold killing machine to having a heart. She is changing her ways in order to protect her family rather than just killing. But it's time to address the big question. Will Yor kill Loid? It's all fun and games until we realize that Loid and Yor might as well be enemies if their professions came to light. Right now, they're not exactly enemies, but not allies either. Yor works for Garden from Ostania, while Loid works for Wise from Westelis. And the differences start from there. Until now, as we have seen from the manga, the goals of both of the organizations are similar, but their methodology and approach are completely different. Even though both countries want to maintain peace, they both want to keep the situation in their favor as well. Wise sent spies like Loid to Ostania to maintain peace, but their means might appear a threat to Garden. For example, Loid's mission of getting close to Donovan Desmond might be enough reason for Garden to eliminate him, even though it's for a good reason. This is a classic case of mixed motives where the status quo can change at any time. For the large part, Garden seems like they want to maintain peace, but the way they eliminate the traitors of Ostania is in line with how SSS deals. In fact, Endo, the author, said in the fan book that even Wise itself knows very little about Garden, and the organization is funded by Ostania's shadow government. Twilight may also already be on Garden's hit list. In chapter 43, there's actually a hint that Frankie's informant might actually have been taken down by Garden because he denies the involvement of the SSS. It would be an insane development if we have to see Yor track down her own husband and kill him.
Bruh.
I honestly don't even see how they both fight, let alone kill off each other, after sharing so many moments and tenderness together. But at the same time, there's also a chance that Loid and Yor could work together in the future if they realize that they have common goals and, well, accept that they both lied through their teeth about their past to each other. It would be interesting to see how this possibility plays out, and if Anya also comes into the mix along with Bond to form the ultimate Incredibles team. Because, you know, every time they talk about doing their job, they do their job to have peace for the people they care about. So it's not actually working for their country, it's more like they just want peace, alright? Alright, now that's enough simping for Yor on this video. If you liked this video, then make sure to hit that like button and also hit the notification bell because we're banging out content every day. So make sure to check out our past Spy X Family videos shown on screen right now. Those are bangers as well.